We have come to the conclusion that Trump is not sufficiently informed.
He has more than met his match with Putin. It's not a Biden did it. It's not anything else. Everything that happens with him and Putin now is on Trump.
I want to hop into a CNN panel that I thought did a really good job breaking down the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine and where we are now, as Trump obviously failed to solve it and find peace before day one as he promised. So if you can, take a moment, leave us a like on the video, helps us out a ton, lets us know you enjoy the content, and let's see what we can add to this conversation.
After the president wrote that Putin was playing with fire by keeping up Russia's barrage of attacks in Ukraine, the aide told Russian state TV, quote, "Trump says a lot of things. Naturally, we read and monitor all of this, but in many ways, we have come to the conclusion that Trump is not sufficiently informed about what is really happening in the context of the Russian-Ukraine confrontation." CNN is also now reporting that President Trump is losing patience and considering new sanctions on Russia. It is a stunning change in tone between the White House and the Kremlin and the two presidents who once appeared to regard each other warmly.
It should show immediately Trump has no deal-making chops. What deal has he ever successfully made? He has no foreign policy chops. That both Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine now rapidly escalating under his watch should be a telltale sign of that. Trump came in as a human personification of Dunning-Kruger. He had loads of confidence of his ability to get these things done, but not much ability to get them done. And we're seeing this play out in real time as Putin just refuses to even play ball now after Trump did a whole media tour for him, blaming Ukraine for the war, pretending they started it like a complete Putin simp, embarrassed himself in America in doing it. And now Putin is going as far to escalate further with more attacks in Ukraine after Trump said, well, we're just seconds away from peace. Ukraine has now asked and received permission from its European allies to use their large missiles to fire attacks back into Russia. So peace is getting further and further. And Trump is now just making empty threats, as you can see. And the Russian government has no fear in their heart from any of this. They're boldly calling him out publicly in a way they would never dare to do to Biden.
I think that Russia, as they've said themselves, they have been watching Trump cycle through praise and then the occasional criticism and then praise. And I think they've figured out if they wait long enough, the news cycle will change, but he really won't. And at a certain point, mostly what I'm wondering now is at what point is this an embarrassment to Trump? At what point is this proving that he has more than met his match with Putin? He has met somebody who is now mocking him and in fact saying the same things that Zelensky was saying. Do you really understand what's going on here? And Trump turned to him and basically said, you don't have all the cards, be quiet. What does he say to Putin? What does this look like? I'm going to leave it to the reporters to tell me. But it just seems to me a giant question mark, and there is no one else to blame. It's not a Biden did it. It's not anything else. Everything that happens with him and Putin now is on Trump.
And to be clear, a lot of the responsibility already falls on his shoulders and Obama's, to be clear, right? As both of them chose to do nothing in the years following Russia's actual start of this war way back in 2014, which they did because they were salty in the first Ukrainian election that Russia couldn't interfere in. Ukraine elected a pro-EU candidate over the pro-Russia candidate. But note the difference in how Trump will handle these leaders. When it's a leader he thinks he can bully, like Zelensky or now with the South African president, he bullies them. That's exactly what he does. Versus now when it's Putin, who is openly defying him, openly mocking him, openly calling his bluff publicly, we don't get any you don't have the cards type moments. We instead get Trump telling a reporter, well, I don't know what's wrong with Putin. What could it be? And whispers of possible sanctions being considered. Like, what a softie. Biden would have had a unilateral coalition of 15 countries ready by midnight.
How long is Donald Trump willing to be embarrassed by the Kremlin or by Vladimir Putin? And what you've seen is it's not just the escalation of attacks. Obviously, we've seen that before. It's the fact that the escalation of attacks came after Donald Trump spoke for 2.5 hours on the phone with Putin and after Donald Trump said that Putin still wants peace. We were also told that on that phone call that Putin had committed to drafting what he was calling a memorandum of peace, which was just what Russia's list of requirements would be for a Ukrainian ceasefire. He said he'd have that to the U.S. and to Ukraine in a number of days. It's been over a week, and nobody has that.
Not that the demands have even changed.
Not that the demands
have changed,
but the fact is that Donald Trump sat on the call. Vladimir Putin said this to his face. He then regurgitated information publicly saying that Vladimir Putin wanted peace, or he still believed that. And now you're looking at over a week without any sort of movement from Putin in the direction he said he was going to go in. Instead, he's just escalated the attacks. Yeah. So it goes back.
And that's just what happens when you're gullible and you don't really know what you're doing, while being surrounded by a team of unqualified goons who also don't know what they're doing, but sure as hell aren't going to tell you no. Putin is clearly just telling Trump what he wants to hear and then doing whatever he actually wants to do with no fear in his heart of Trump or possible repercussions. And the scariest part of it is that Trump is sure to act in an extreme. It's just that we don't know which side, but either side are equally harmful in separate ways. In just walking away from the conflict, one extreme that is on the table, it would limit embarrassment for Trump, but it would embolden Putin. It would forfeit Ukraine's sovereignty. It would hurt us geopolitically in the region and NATO as well. Or he recklessly escalates, he attacks Russia or something, and whatever escalation he wants to do. I doubt it's like an actual attack, but whether it's like a cyber attack or something of that sort, Lord knows how that ends up with us, right? This all sounds insane, but it's realistic. We know for a fact Trump had a trigger finger in his first term, wanting to attack Venezuela, wanting to attack Mexico, wanting to attack all of these countries, but he was stopped by generals who he's no longer surrounded by and that have been replaced by yes men.